Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. It's been said about human nature that we build little worlds, little stories, little shells around our minds in order to keep infinity out and to allow us to wake up in the morning without screaming. Our campaign is Horror on the Orient Express, and this is episode 86. I'm your game master, and Jeff Wilkins will be giving our recap. After so long a journey, our players arrive tonight back in London in the hopes of freeing themselves from their burden. Let's continue our journey into the darkness. Jeff?
Tom. In our last episode, we had met with the Duke, and he had given us the spell needed to defeat Lovecraft. We had tried it all on one another just to be safe, and none of us were him. We found ourselves out of that big cathedral back on the train as we expected. We're trying to come up with a plan on how and where to destroy Lovecraft. We're not sure where the simulacrum is, where it is now, or to how to destroy it exactly. But first things first, eliminate Lovecraft first. We decided to start in our own train car and go door to door. Harrow was first, but he's not in his room. We find Elena. Eldritch applies the spell to her with no result. Good. Moving on to the next one. Amu passes. Margaret's room is also empty, although we do find a large book with pressed butterflies. Nakamura passes the test also. As we change plans to start searching the foregone, suddenly Dr. Keith hears a noise coming from Margarita's room, which should be empty. Eldritch breaks the door open, and to our surprise, we see Mr. Harrow. There's a bit of an awkward back and forth as we question him why he's in the room, and that's when Harrow makes an attempt to get near the door and tells us to leave. Eldritch, without hesitation, casts a spell, and to our horror, Harrow's skin splits down the middle of his chest, and all of his internal organs slip out and land into Eldritch's own outstretched arms. It's no doubt we have finally found Lovecraft and defeated him. Dr. Keith won the pool, as that's who she suspected all along. Dr. Keith informs Elena that we have killed Lovecraft and that her mission is somewhat solved now too. Dr. Dawkins goes back to Harrow's room to search for any additional clues. He finds a telegram, and the talk about the simulacrum must be in London. He also finds several passports from Harrow, Margrave, and Margarita. Our next order of business is to find the simulacrum. This time, the staff of the train believes that we have saved everyone from the terrorists, so they're willing to give us access to anywhere we want to go, which is in search of the foregons. We start searching and looking for a container that would be large enough to hold all the pieces of the statue. As we're looking, the Duke de Sante shows up. He's dressed in modern-day clothing and is obnoxiously telling us to hurry up and find the statue. The search continues, and Dr. Dawkins uses this opportunity to maneuver his way around the Duke, at which point he takes out the Mem Sahis. He's just waiting for the right time to plunge it into his back. And that's when Frank finds a box that looks like that this is it. It has a sticker on it that says Constantinople. The Duke is excited and distracted. Dr. Dawkins makes his move. He stabs the Duke. He works the knife in ways to sever the spinal cord as well. The Duke falls to the ground and is pleading for his life. Eldritch joins in with the brutal murder and starts to kick the Duke's head. That's when Dr. Dawkins delivers the final death blow by taking the knife to the Duke's brain. That kills him. In the aftermath, Dr. Dawkins has a crazed look in his eye. It's as if he enjoys this immensely. And there for a second, he realizes that we've all witnessed him commit this murder. Thankfully, Dr. Dawkins composes himself, and we end up pushing the large Duke out the door of the train. We have, in fact, found the simulacrum. The train pulls into Paris. We have our baggage, including the simulacrum. We make final travel plans to end up in London, and that's where we're supposed to pick things up.
All right. Thank you so much for giving the recap. Yes, indeed. You, from Paris to Calais, from Calais to Dover, and then you get on the train from Dover to London. At 2:30 p.m., I'm not sure of the date any longer, but I believe that it's late February sometime, you arrive back in London. You still have almost maybe slightly less than a day before your time is going to run out. At Victoria Station, there's a lot of relief on many of the passengers who went all the way to London with you. The harrowing stories that they're going to tell their family and friends about the terrorists, you have no doubt that they're going to do that. You're all on the platform in London. What are you going to do? You also have a single large trunk with the simulacrum pieces in it. And you are feeling your corruption. You're achy.
How many hours do we have exactly?
Well, there's no exact time, but...
Okay. Do we have an estimate?
Probably around 20.
Okay.
Because you made good time
we
getting...
also have a number of the scrolls now, don't we? All but one of the scrolls.
That's correct.
Were there any scrolls in with the simulacrum?
Yes. There were.
Oh, is that what you just asked, Mick? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. You have them all except the scroll of the left hand. The scroll of the left hand is the one that has the cleansing spell.
In that case, I propose that we head hotfoot for Islington and Macriat's shop.
We're looking for a hat shop. Is that right?
Yes, I believe it's no, it's I thought it was an antique shop.
I thought so too. Okay.
I believe so.
How are you going to get there?
By train?
No,
No, you're in London.
Oh, we're in. Well, I don't know where.
Can't we catch grab a taxi? There should be a taxi.
Yes, let's grab a cab.
I would like Dr. Elizabeth and Dawkins to do a spot hidden.
Well, don't somebody dog's nose in my face when I'm trying to do. What are you doing?
No, I got a 92, so I don't see anything.
Oh yes, I've passed. I got 26 out of 45.
Dr. Elizabeth, as you guys are sort of composing yourselves and figuring out what to do, and you've decided you're going to take a cab, you look over. There's, of course, a long line of cabs. And there are also cabbies who are waiting for people holding signs. You see, there's a Georgeson, and there's a Smith, and there's all these signs. And there's one fat little cabbie standing there, looks exhausted, looks like he's been standing there for a couple of hours. And he's holding a sign, and it says, Mac Rat. M-A-C-R-A-T.
Could this be the famous Mac the Rat?
Do you point it out? Because I don't think so.
Yes, I should point it out. Now, gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's an attempt at writing Macriat.
Yes. We talked about this previously on the train, about perhaps posing as Macriat.
Yes, indeed.
Who should do it, and should we do it?
Well, I mean, for the purposes of stealing his taxi.
Yeah, and he might already have instructions to take him right to the shop.
But Dawkins, channeling your paranoia, what if this is not just some cabbie? Because it's been arranged. What if this is one of his plants?
Well, if it's one of his plants, they don't know if he made it off the train. What they don't know that he's dead. He could be one of us, for all they know. They know that he has, I guess, the power to do so, to like change shape and form. So, and if they start asking questions, you can just tell them to shut up. You're the boss, remember? It's been a long ride, and you're exhausted from all that spell casting you were doing on the train.
Can I ask, do any of us speak Turkish?
No, that's the problem.
Do any of you speak what?
Turkish.
Oh, Turkish?
I don't. I speak German and Russian and English.
Yep.
All right. Well, the jig is up when they ask us something in Turkish, but until then, I think we're okay.
This guy looks just like your average everyday cabbie.
Oh, I'm talking about when he drives us to the location and there's someone there and they go, "Hello, Makriat," something in Turkish, and then we go, "Mazel tov," and they go, "It's you," and and they attack. All right, who wants to approach? Not all at once.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure that he'd occupy. I don't know whether or not he'd occupy the body of a woman. Whether he'd actually do that, because I don't think he did when he was on the train.
He may want to impersonate someone like Dr. Dawkins, someone with high standing,
Why Dr. Dawkins? I don't know. What about you, Eldridge? The master of
talking.
Yeah.
I'm good at talking to people.
The master of diplomacy and charisma.
Well, if it comes down to it, I have a rather impressive 5 in disguise. Perhaps that might come in handy. If I want to, for example, wear a hat.
You'd fool me into thinking you were a man.
I've never been so insulted in my life.
and I don't say that like Thomas said. I say it like Eldritch, just like completely stoic and like, yeah, you could fool me. I will.
Subtext there, mate. No,
I will
discuss the subtext.
I will approach. I will pose. How about that?
Okay.
Okay.
As you're walking towards him, of course, there's a lot of people on the train station right now. He sort of half glances up at you, not knowing whether you're actually going to come up to him or not. As you're walking towards him,
and I want to make direct eye contact and nod and kind of hold up my hand like this and say it's me.
Right. Now I wish I could do a Cockney accent because that's what I really need to do at this point. But
okay,
imagine in your head Dick Van Dyke doing this voice in his perfect Cockney accent.
It's perfect. Most people agree with that statement.
I've had enough of
that. Come back, Dr. Keith.
He's on his way to California right now.
I got to say, though, that I've heard that comment on somebody on television was doing something, and every English person said that who has the worst Cockney accent, they'd go, Dick Van Dyke, Dick Van Dyke. Did anybody say Dick Van Dyke? That's really funny.
Yeah.
All right. He says, right. He says, you're this Macrat guy?
Makriat. I correct his pronunciation.
He says, well, it's good you finally showed up. I've been here for 3 hours every day for the past 3 days. As
The
per
train
instructions.
The train was delayed. These are my associates. I point to the other three.
All right, you got some luggage there. Let's see if we can get that in the back.
I nod, and I will step aside and allow him to take my bag.
All right. So he gets you all situated. You get the impression from him that everything's already been paid for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you said that we're going to your Islington, yes?
We're going to Islington, yes, which is in the city.
You said 3 Boffrey Lane, yes?
I nod.
He says, all right. She says, I got to tell you, I'm not really that keen on going into Islington with all the stuff going on there lately.
Well, I kind of give him an eye, and I say, well, what's happening in Islington? As you can see, I've been out of the country.
Oh, you haven't been reading the papers then?
No.
He says, well, now he's getting you in the taxi, and he's starting to drive. So we're having this conversation as he's sitting there. One of you has to sit up front, so it might as well be you.
Sure.
He's like, well, he says, first there was that shopkeeper. What was his last name? Osborne. That his little gentleman's outfit, his shop got all torn up, and he got murdered. That was a big news. And then right after that, there's some homeless guy found in the basement. It's all right in that neighborhood, right where we're going. So if you don't mind, I'll help you out, and then I'm gonna skedaddle out of there.
And I nod and I say, well, everything has been paid for, so I don't see why you can't do that.
See, it's like, and then there's that thing just yesterday, and he says in the newspaper, I forget the school teacher that's gone missing, and he sort of points. There's a newspaper in the back seat.
I'll turn and look at the other three who are most likely in the back seat.
All right.
Who'd like to read it? Me? All right. I'll read it. Islington schoolmaster missing. Concerns over his safety. Police appeal for assistance. Police have expressed concern over the disappearance of Mr. Arthur Bowman, 53, a schoolmaster at the Hanover Street School in Islington. Mr. Bowman was reported missing by his landlady, Miss Jane Parks, when he failed to return to her boarding house on Orlinston Road, Islington. I apologize to all of our British listeners listening. His absence is out of character for this respected schoolmaster of many years, standing in the community. In light of recent events in the area, police ask that anyone with information about the disappearance is requested to contact Inspector Joseph Phillips. And this happened yesterday, today?
Yesterday. Was in yesterday's paper.
All right.
Yeah, this is right. Bad business going on there. I never heard of so many things happening right in the same area. At least not all at once like that.
And I kind of lean back into my chair, but I'm just kind of like staring out the window, trying to put the pieces together, because obviously they're all connected, but I don't see necessarily how right now, right this second.
Well, from what the cabbie sort of implies is that, let's see, the original shopkeeper, he was killed on Nelson Street. The vagrant was found on Combe Street. This Arthur Bowman, that was on Hanover Street. These are all right next to Boffrey Lane, where you're going, within a block or two.
All right, so they're all adjacent streets. All right, well, I can't say anything with the cabbie in the car.
Right. He says, I don't know, there's some, it's like that old Jack the Ripper. There's something going on in that neighborhood.
Perhaps they've been grabbed by the tongs.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what kind of instruments they've been grabbed with, but...
I turn to Dr. Keith and I say, I didn't know that London had tongs here. I honestly had no idea that London had tongs.
Oh yes, have you never read any Sax Roma?
No, I mean I knew that the tongs had spread to like Chicago and New York and of course San Francisco.
Limehouse.
Oh.
Limehouse is notorious for tong activity.
Is it just the one tong or is it several? Do you know?
Oh, I believe there's a number of them.
I look to the cabbie, and because he probably looks confused, he probably has that face right now.
No, he's probably just.
And I look at him and I say, the tongs are an organization developed by the Chinese.
Chinese, you say? Well, says I don't know nothing about that. He says I can tell you that. That school is right next to a shoe store, a shoe repair store. So you could say he might have been caught by the cobblers.
I don't laugh. I just kind of like turn and look at him.
I don't make a very good joke.
I'm channeling Makriat right now, so I just like turn and glare at him.
All right. So unless you guys want to say something or do something, you're going to arrive in Islington.
Now, I don't know anything about Islington. I thought it was a separate town outside of London.
It's in...
it's like a borough.
London.
Okay. So...
and you're going into an area where there's lots of shops.
Okay, so there's lots of shops, but that does not necessarily mean that it's a bad side of town. There's 3 killings is not normal in Islington. It's London. I imagine killings are normal in London. But
3 killings in a neighborhood in the space of a week is not normal anywhere in London.
Okay. So
even though it's a big town,
and there isn't any, because what I'm essentially implying is there's no tong activity, there's no gang activity, there's no seedy underbelly. Okay.
Yeah. There's probably a seedy underbelly, but it's the same everywhere. It's not that seedy.
Unless you go to central London.
Don't hang around in a back alley anywhere. Just because it's not a good idea anyway. All right. So it doesn't take you very long to get to Islington. The cabbie pulls up right in front of a shop, and on the sign above the shop, it's Makriat's Antique Shop. There's other shops around it. You can see that you just crossed Combe Street, and the next street over is Nelson Street. So you're in the neighborhood where you're literally right in the neighborhood where all these things have been happening. The shop is kind of quaint on the outside. The windows are they're shuttered closed. The door is closed. The curtains are drawn on the window and the door, and there's a little sign that says closed. It doesn't look like anybody's been in there for a while. And the cabbie lets you out. He sets your luggage and your simulacrum on the curb. Thanks you very much. And he doesn't even wait for a tip. He gets back in his cab and he's gone because he is creeped out by this neighborhood.
Just in case we get confronted, if you're posing as Makriat, who are we? Are we going to use our real names?
I don't know about that. If we're dealing with agents of Makriat, he's probably informed them, hey, there are these 4 assholes. Their names are these. Mm-hmm. For now, I'm just going to call you guys my associates. If you want to kind of figure that out amongst yourselves.
What about Tom? You had mentioned when Dr. Dawkins was searching the train car that he found the 3 other passports.
Yes.
Would we have it about us to have taken those?
Sure.
Yeah.
So perhaps we could pose as, I forget who they were, but
The only thing that Helena took from you was the schedule of Prince Edward, was it? That was his real target.
This is me nodding. Yes, Edward would have been his target.
Yeah. No, Andrew.
Andrew. Yeah, wasn't it Andrew?
Sorry. I don't know my royals very well.
Is Edward the prince that's coming up?
Yeah,
He wasn't going for that one. He was going for the next one in line.
Oh, okay.
The second one in line. That way he could learn how to be a king before he actually
Moved into the spot.
Right.
So one of us could be Harrow. One of us could be Dr. Keith. You could be Margarita.
Fits. Seems like it was fated that way.
And I can't remember the other name.
I'm drawing a blank as well.
Well, who are you talking about?
The three passports that we would be.
It would have been Margarita, Harrow, and what's his name? Now, see, I'm drawing a blank. Thank you. You said his name just a few minutes ago.
Margrave.
Margrave. There you go.
All right.
So you can, I mean, Dr. Keith, of course, is going to be Margarita.
Okay.
Or Margrave or Harrow. It doesn't really matter. I'm not going to, judge you, Dr. Keith.
No, I will be Margarita. I am fighting so hard not to Margarita Prakatan impersonation right now.
Is anyone around? It's the middle of the day.
It's the afternoon. It's probably about 3:00. Well, wait, what time did you arrive? 2:30? No, 2:50. So it's probably around 4.
Okay.
Yeah, there's probably some people up and down the street walking, going to other shops and things like that.
Can I? Yeah, what I wanted to do is, while Eldridge is like looking around, I'm going to try to look around that, maybe through the windows, not through the windows, but at the windows of the houses and buildings around us to see if there's anybody that's sort of glancing out, looking at us,
It doesn't look like you can't really see in the other shops because, it's from the contrast of the light. It's kind of dark inside. Makriot shop is a 2-story affair. It's made out of brick. It's probably a resident on the top floor. The bottom floor is the shop. Both stories are fairly tall stories.
Was there a key in among his belongings?
There was not.
Oh dear.
I'll try the door. Is it unlocked or is it
It's
locked?
locked.
Okay. Is there? Can I do a search hidden to see if somebody might have left the key on the on the outside somewhere, like maybe hide it up on the borders.
Go ahead and do a search roll.
Or a search roll, yeah.
Yeah.
And I make it 54.
Okay.
Out of 56.
You thoroughly search and you don't find anything. Now there's a glass. I mean, the door is partly glass.
Here's another question. Is this connected to, so you have the shop here, you have the upstairs. Is it connected on both sides to another building, or
It's connected on one side to another building, and on the other side there's a small alley, but it's not much larger than you could just walk through, one person.
Well, I'd suggest if we're going to break in,
Well, let's have a good look
best doing it
outside.
around the back.
Yeah, is there a back? Is there a back door?
I don't know. You can't see a back door from here.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Is there an alleyway that would lead us?
Yeah. Yeah, he
Like
just,
I say, on one side of the building, there's one side of the building. Actually, it's kind of funny because the building itself was built between two other buildings. So on one side, there's a gap on both sides. But on one side, the gap is large enough where you could walk down it, and the other is probably only about like that.
Okay, so we just go down the one that we can walk through.
Okay.
Or I go.
I look to Makriot and say, "Don't you have the key?"
I look at the other two and I point and I say, "Watch him. Watch him."
As you walk along the side of the building, you get about halfway to the back, and you can see that there's a small window on the side of the building, but it's also shuttered and closed on the inside. But it's in a place that's a little more hidden.
Also more accessible.
When you get to the back, it opens up into a larger alley, and you can see a lot of the buildings on this street and the street behind have kind of a common alley where they put all their garbage and stuff like that. And there is a back door. Back here, it's much darker. Some of the buildings are 3 stories high. It's shady. There's nobody back here at the moment. There's a couple of windows for light, but they don't seem to be, people aren't looking out the windows. This is a back window. They are also covered up on Makriot's shop.
Did you say it was like an apartment upstairs?
Yeah. Most of these shops have apartments upstairs.
I'm just continuing to wait outside the shop.
I'm just thinking, I'm not against breaking in, but I'm wondering if we rang the doorbell for the apartment upstairs, that maybe they have a spare key.
There's no doorbell.
Knock on the
There's
door.
no way to the apartment upstairs except from inside.
Oh, it's connected to the shop?
It's upstairs in the shop. People live above their shops.
So, all right, maybe I'm not clear then. Is this like an apartment that he would rent out to just anybody, or is this like his apartment?
It would be his place.
Oh, I see. Okay. Break in it is. I grab a rock and start walking towards the back door.
Okay. There's an old brick. All right. Next to the back door. Now the back door is a solid door, like a metal door, but there's a window right next to it.
Crash.
Okay. Go ahead and do a luck roll for me.
Ooh, 91.
Okay, it makes a lot of noise. So you all stand there, you all cringe for a moment looking around, but nobody comes out.
Why did we give the crazy man the brick?
He just picked it up.
Nobody stopped me. I reach in, careful not to cut myself, and unlock the window, climb into the window, and reach around and unlock the back door.
Okay. When you climb through the window, do a dexterity roll for me.
Yes.
No.
Yes. There you go.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
In 09.
Oh no!
Oh man.
All right. As you are going through the window, there's something right next to the window. It's dark inside, and there's something like next to the window. Could be a statue or something like that. And you put your hand on it, and it starts to fall, and you catch it and keep it from falling as you climb through the window. You can see that the door is just to your well, as you've come through the door, it's just to your right. And you're able to unlock. It's got one of those twisty lock things on it. You do that, and the door opens. You are in a back storage room. Do the rest of you come in, or Dr. Elizabeth, are you still up in the front?
Yes, I'm sitting on the trunk.
Okay.
I am La Donna Margarita Delgado.
Okay.
I do not spend my time in alleyways.
You're in a fairly small area. There's lots of things, boxes and knickknacks and candelabra, odd-looking things. Some of them look like they're Middle Eastern, Egyptian, things like that on shelves. Some of them look valuable. Some of them look not so valuable. But it's a fairly small area with lots of boxes in it that you've come through. And just to your, now I'm assuming the window is to your back, so it's just to your left is a staircase going up. And just in front of you, it looks like there is a way into the shop. It's kind of like a red curtain that's hung in an archway that probably leads into the shop. So let me show you. So you have come in on the right-hand side of the picture where the window is. And Dr. Keith is outside in the front on the left-hand side of the picture.
Then I will pass the curtain and I will walk to the front door and I will see if I can unlock it and allow her to come inside because I don't want her just sitting out there with the
Right.
crate.
You're able to do that rather easily.
Okay.
Now, my picture is empty, but this room is filled with antiques. They look mostly Middle Eastern and Egyptian sort of things. Statues, like I say, things that look like Egyptian gods and goddesses, and the room is dimly lit just by the cracks in the windows, but there is an electric light switch.
I will flip it now. Tom, let me ask you. I see storage and I see all these crates and stuff like that.
Right.
What is that stairs leading up or down?
Up.
Okay. So probably to his apartment upstairs.
Correct.
Okay. Can I do a spot hidden? I'm looking for the scrolls or a scroll.
You're in the main shop area?
Yeah, I unlocked the door for Dr. Keith.
All right, go ahead and do a spot hidden for me.
Okay. I actually seem to let's see, exit full screen mode. There we go. And I roll. What is my spot hidden? 53. Yeah, I passed.
Okay. You look around and you do see a number of parchments, papyruses, and things like that, but nothing that looks like that scroll that you already had in your possession. You also notice that there is a thin layer of dust on everything. Of course, that's not surprising. He hasn't been here for as long as you haven't been here, for almost a month.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I would appreciate some help with dragging this luggage into the shop.
I'll take it from Dr. Keith. And I'll kind of, with her help, pull it inside.
Okay.
But as we're pulling, I want to look at Dr. Keith because I imagine that we're close together. So we're out on the street pulling it in. I say, it's just occurred to me that we don't necessarily know what language the scroll is in.
Well, the original scroll that you had was in Turkish and Arabic.
Yeah. But we don't know if this new scroll will be in Turkish and Arabic. It may just be Turkish. It may just be in Arabic.
It's a fair guess that we'll need to find an Arabist.
No. And with that, we'll put the... is there an empty corner? I see 2 corners in the main shop.
That's just my picture. The room is filled with stuff. It's like an old-fashioned antique shop. It's everywhere.
I just don't want to haul this upstairs if we have. So I'd look at Dr. Keith and I say, let's pull it in the storage behind the curtain.
Okay.
And just hide it amongst those crates.
Good.
All right, so we'll take it back there.
Okay.
And as I set it down on the ground, I look at the others and I say, well, what now? There's some parchments out there in the shop, but none of them look like the kind of thing that we're looking for.
But my betting is that he'd keep something like that in his own private apartments.
Yeah.
Private, or that he hid it here in the clutter of the back room.
True.
Safe.
No one, and I look at Dr. Keith, no one was really like looking at the shop as we were coming in, right? No one was like observing us or watching us from the alleys or shadows.
You didn't see anybody.
Okay. Well, I guess we have the run of the place. Let's be tentative, but I point to the stairs. I say, if anywhere, I agree with Dawkins. It'll probably be upstairs. If not in the hidden in plain sight amongst the scrolls out there.
What was the statue that I almost knocked over?
Looks like it was like a statue of Anubis. Frank, do a spot hidden roll for me. Then.
Yeah, I'm going to start poking around. 59 is a pass. 65.
Okay. You start poking around at some of this stuff. You look at that same statue. You look at some of the stuff on the shelves. Some of it looks like, there's even like antique toys and things like that. But you suddenly start looking at this shit and you start realizing some of this stuff is cheap. This is not authentic. This is made out of plaster. These are like cheap knockoffs of things. They're Makriot must be selling fake antiques for the most part. Some of these are real, some of them are not, but most of them are fakes.
Okay. Plaster, I'm thinking it's hollowed out and maybe he had it inside of it. That's where the other one was. It was inside of a taxidermy bear. When you say plaster, do you mean like jars or sculptures or
like sculptures? They're just made out of plaster of Paris.
Like a bust, like a head, shoulder, head, that thing.
Right. Like there's one of Nefertiti with her, like from the British Museum, except that it's obvious the paint is kind of flaking off in places. And
perhaps the shop acts as a front, allowing him to import other things from the Middle East.
I think so.
Who knows what he might be involved in?
Well, we know that murder is one of them. So.
Yes.
I'm going to grab the Nefertiti one and smash it.
Okay. I can see you just sort of pick it up and smash it to the ground. It shatters into a bunch of chunks, and white dust sort of wafts into the air, but it's just a big plaster, cheap ass thing.
Wasn't that one? Wasn't that one?
It's probably not here. It's probably upstairs.
But I also want to add, Frank, it felt really good. So add 1 sanity.
This is not a panic room where you can just take your aggressions out on the objects around you. We're trying to do this with as little contaminating evidence and incriminating evidence as possible. So let's head upstairs.
This is our lives depend on this. We have to find this thing.
It's not going to be in the statue of Nefertiti. I then look at the statue of Anubis. No, seriously. I'm going to go.
Oops.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to leave Frank to his own devices with the other two. They can manage him. I'm going to go upstairs.
Apparently you can't. I'll go with Eldritch to back him up, but I will say to Frank, careful now with knocking things over. We don't want anybody to call the authorities while we're in here.
All right.
All right.
We'll yell if you need me upstairs.
Based on what you just said, Eldridge, you're going up the stairs, and Dr. Dawkins, you're following right behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The stairs are fairly narrow, and when you reach the top, there is some light coming in from the upstairs windows, but you don't immediately find any kind of light switch. So it's still kind of dim and dark up there. Do you want to do anything as you reach the top of the stairs?
I ready my my medical instrument.
Well, I meant as far as being able to see where you're going.
Yeah. Could I make a spot hidden? I imagine that I'm kind of leading the way. I don't want to fall or trip Dawkins up.
Okay. Yeah, you're leading the way. You're definitely leading the way.
Let me do a spot hidden and 50.
Okay. You don't see any light switches or anything right around there.
I say, Dawkins, it's very odd. There's no lights on the second floor, the apartment portion of a shop.
No, it would be interesting if somehow, some way we can enhance your eyes so that you'd be able to see in the dark.
And
my hand is in my pocket, over the sort of fondling the knife a bit.
I'm told that carrots are quite helpful.
I jump out of my skin because I didn't think that you were right behind me.
I'm not staying down there with
hell.
Coach. He's going crazy and breaking things.
What you can tell Eldridge from the shape of the building and the direction you're going, the stairs go to the top, there's a landing, and then there's a hallway going to your right into the apartment.
Well, I know
there still could be a light switch, but farther in.
If I've learned anything from my experience reading droves and droves and droves of crappy, unpublished pulp novels, it's that we go up the stairs, we turn the corner, and there's a door, and at the end of that hallway, we open the door, and there's something there. So, Dawkins, why don't you go first?
Very well.
Okay. I still want to know how you're going to be able to see where you're going.
I'm just trying to feel my way. I guess
Okay.
try to find a wall and then
There's no windows out looking over the alleyway or anything like that?
No, not looking over the alleyway, nothing.
It's just wall.
It's just wall going up. Wall's going up to a wall, and then it's obviously turning a corner there and going into the apartment.
Was there anything downstairs, like a candle or something like that I could possibly grab?
Well, don't you guys have flashlights?
if we do, I don't know if they're necessarily with us.
I've
We
got
will
a
send
box
him
of
along.
matches.
I'm imagining I don't have.
I'm sure there would be lanterns or something downstairs. Oil burning lamps or.
I'll go downstairs. I'll ask Dawkins to hold for me, and I'll go downstairs and prep an oil lamp and light it with my cigarette lighter. And yeah. Or I mean, I have a cigarette lighter, but I don't want to waste the gas, so I'll be proactive and light a oil lantern.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Dr. Dawkins, do a listen roll.
No.
Okay.
No. 96.
All right. You don't hear anything.
What doesn't he hear? It's worth a try.
All right. So, Eldridge, you go back downstairs. You find an oil lamp that does have some oil in it, and you light it.
Okay.
So it's fairly well bright. You're going back up the stairs.
Going right back up the stairs. I'll be
All right.
behind Dawkins with the lamp, kind of.
All right. Now you can see clearly that the corner turns, and as you reach who's going first again? Is Dr. Dawkins going first? All right.
Yeah.
So as you get to the top of the stairs, you can see it turns into a small hallway and goes into a larger room. There is no door there.
Okay.
Both of you do a listen roll.
Oh, me again?
Yeah, both. Yeah, you and Eldridge.
4.
Nope. 85. Okay.
Dr. Dawkins is taking a few steps forward. You can hear a squeaking in the floor because it's a wooden floor. But Eldridge, you think you hear something else, and you quickly put your hand on Dr. Dawkins' shoulder and stop him from moving. And for a split second after he stops moving, you think you can hear something up ahead, like a scratching noise. And then it's gone. You don't know where it came from, just came from ahead. Now you can see that there are I believe there are 2 windows. No, I'm sorry, you can't see you can see that there is a window on the side. And here you're looking down a hallway. You can see there's a window to your left-hand side, and that there's a door on the far end, probably going into another room. But there's a big room up ahead that you haven't gotten to yet. That's just open. And you're pretty sure you heard something, maybe rats.
Rats on the floor? Okay. The window to my left, is that painted shut? Can I open it?
Well, you haven't gotten to it yet. You'd have to go into the big room.
How far, if I'm on the threshold, how far is it? Is it a 5-foot walk? Is it a 10-foot walk?
Maybe another 15 feet.
Holy fuck, this is a huge room. I whisper to Dawkins, I heard something. Something is in here. I think that we should get the others. Their strength in numbers. If it is something,
All right.
4 of us are better than 2.
Well, yeah. I'll go and get the others if you're going to stay here. Keep the light.
I'll stay here and I'll kind of hold the light. So if I'm standing there, I'm trying to illuminate the stairway behind me.
Okay. So you're standing with the lantern pointed towards the stairs so that he can see his way down.
I'm kind of holding it above me.
Okay.
So that way I can still see the things ahead of me, but also kind of give a little bit of light that kind of
Okay.
cascades over the stairs.
Do a luck roll for me.
Always good. Okay. And 55 out of 30.
You have 30 luck?
I have 30 luck. I've been spending it.
All right.
Can I spend luck points?
As you're standing there, two things happen. Three things happen.
Oh, okay. Three things. That's always good.
The first is you hear a scuttling sound. It sounds like a large scuttling sound. It seems to be coming from kind of above you. You glance up, and around the corner on the ceiling from in the room, but coming into the hallway, something large scuttles on the ceiling. And the third thing is you suddenly get hit by something wet and slimy, and it knocks you down.
Okay. Down the stairs?
No, it just knocks you towards the stairs and down onto your hands and knees.
How is the light?
You've managed to set the light sort of down as you fell, but whatever it is coming up behind you, and it's making a chittering sort of sound, a screechy, chittering sort of sound.
Now, I would have to be deaf.
No, at this point you hear all that. But you've taken 4 or 5 steps down the stairs. So you suddenly hear Eldridge, at least probably, like this as he gets hit by something. And you hear crashing and skittering. And
do the others hear it downstairs?
Yeah, they can hear it they can hear something going on upstairs immediately.
All right. I'm going to not scream, but I'm going to yell out Dawkins' name as I kind of get myself into a position to where I see the incoming thing, and if I can, kick it.
Okay. Want to know what Dawkins is going to do?
I don't know. I'm like, part of me is like, shit, what the hell is that? I'm going to run down the stairs, and instead of getting the others, I'm going to run out of the front door.
Really? Instead of helping your friend?
No, I said part of me is feeling that way. I'm not going to. I'll yell downstairs for the others to come quickly, and I'm going to turn around, and as soon as this thing lunges at Eldridge, I guess I'm going to try to move in to attack.
Okay, Frank, you hear all this commotion all of a sudden.
Did you find it?
Come quickly.
Well, both of you guys downstairs, your impression now is that there must have been somebody up there and they've attacked Eldridge and Dawkins. All you've heard is crashing all of a sudden going on up there.
Some manner of conflagration. Well, I'm going to go racing up there.
Okay.
It's probably a cat or something.
All right. Eldridge.
I'll draw my life preserver.
Eldridge, you were knocked forward onto your hands and knees, and you turn back, and like you say, you're going to try to kick whatever it is. What comes around the corner and drops onto the floor in front of you? It's difficult to describe. Let me give a description.
Okay, always good to hear.
Imagine, if you will, a thing composed of human body parts, skin and bones, human skin and bones. The body, imagine if the sternum were gone and the ribs had opened up like this, and it was moving almost like a centipede with its ribs along the ground. What it threw at you were its bowels, which you were hit with. And the thing is rearing up and it's about to pounce on you.
Is there any? Are there hands? Are there feet? Is it just a torso?
No, it's got hands and feet. The hands don't seem to be doing much. It's got a head, but the head is sort of just lolling there. It's like that's not the thing that's really animated. It's the body itself that sort of is animated like a creature.
So it's literally like the head is dragging across the floor. The arms are like slumping across the floor.
Right.
The legs are like propelling it forward.
But the bones and the skin are somehow being animated to drag this thing.
It's not a pretty picture.
It's also not clumsy either. It seems to be moving very, very much like an insect.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to take the light and just like bash it and then have oil spill all over it and light it on fire. Because that would not only light the house on fire, but that gets rid of our only light source. So I am just going to forcefully kind of kick because I'm imagining it's crawling on the ground and it lifts itself up.
Right.
As it lifts itself up to pounce on me, I want to try and kick the head. And it's probably not going to do any damage, but just to try and push it away.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for, we'll call it a brawl. What is it, brawl? Yeah.
It would be brawl.
Okay.
22. Yeah, that's a hard.
Okay. So the thing sort of rears up, and it's almost like it's going to climb over you, but you kick it, like you say, in the head. And it sort of rears up. And when you kick it, you cause the light that's next to you to really illuminate the thing. So you can see it very clearly. And two things happen. One is it sort of rears back from the light. But you get a good look at the head. The thing that's in front of you is what's left of James Beddoes.
I was going to say.
Sanity roll on that one.
Oh, fuck me. Not Beddoes. I thought he made it. All right. I failed. What's the damage?
Okay, do a 1d4, and whatever it is, you scream like a little girl when you see Beddoes' face.
I got a 2, but yeah, I scream. I mean, I'd probably scream no matter what. So I'm screaming and just trying to kick it away.
Okay. Dawkins, you've come back up around the corner and you see this thing in the light. What do you do? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, the cat was running around. I said, first thing I do is roll for sanity because I just seen what Eldridge seen and I failed that.
Okay.
So
you do a 1d4 too.
And that's 3 points. Okay.
You yell, but a little more manly. Ah!
Did this thing launch itself at Eldridge?
Yes. But now it seems to back up a little bit because of the bright light.
Oh. Yeah, I don't have any other light source. All right, so I'm going to try to position myself around it and trying to think, should I slash at this thing? Actually, no. I'm going to pull out my gun and start shooting at this thing. I really don't want to get close to this thing.
Okay. I will remind you that people will hear gunshots.
Yeah, and when they come in and they see what we were shooting at,
then they'll call the police, and then the police will come, and then you'll all get.
And we broke in.
And you'll not accomplish anything that you want to accomplish.
And we'll go crazy in a jail cell.
But wouldn't they see the same thing that we're seeing?
They'd still take you to jail.
Yeah, we broke in.
Well, they just want to take you down and question you and confiscate your box full of body parts and
But wouldn't this? I don't know. I would think that
I'm just reminding you, if you want to shoot. Besides, you have a weapon that you prefer before all other weapons.
I do. I just don't want to. All right. Well, I'll use my medical tool.
All right.
So yeah, I throw out my manly scream, and then I'm like kind of shaking, and I'm tapping my pockets, and I happen to come across the knife, and that gives me a bit more courage. So I said, "Oh, Bellows, you're in a bad state. Let me try to fix you up, put you back together." And I'm going to start using a knife on him.
All right. The worst thing is that you kind of can figure out how he's put together as you're looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
Just the knowledge is there in your head.
Now, the question is this all of Bettles, or is this Bettles and other additions?
The best thing that you could think of is it looks like somebody took Beddoes and split him up from groin to the throat, and that his chest is split open and that his bowels have been thrown at thing, and he's walking around like a spider on his ribs. So it's just Beddoes.
Okay.
There's no extra limbs of any kind.
Can I? You said I could see how he's taken apart that way. Can I see how I could put him back together?
Well, there's not at the moment. You're attacking him, so go ahead and roll for. This is still brawling, isn't it, with a knife?
Yep, and I miss.
Okay, you slash at it, and it doesn't really react, but you miss. Dr. Keith, you've reached the top of the stairs and turned the corner, and all of this activity now has spilled farther into the middle room. Okay, and you see all this going on, and you see body parts of some horrible creature that's fighting with them. Frank, you see it right afterwards. But I think that both of you kind of figured it was going to be something like that. So you can roll sanity if you want, but...
I did already, and surprisingly, I only took one.
Okay.
Oh. I got 8.
Okay. So neither one, you both just take one.
1 point.
Would you guys like to do anything?
Unsure of what I'm facing, I am going to simply sort of advance slowly towards the room.
Okay.
With my my life preserver, my kosh,
Okay.
above my head, ready to strike at anything that comes out towards me.
Okay. So it's still a couple of feet ahead of you. Same with you, Frank. Unless you want to do something.
I'm going to yell to Eldritch, use the spell, use the spell.
Oh, yeah. Sure, I'll do the spell.
Okay. I'll have to have you do a dexterity roll to see if you can
That's
compose
fine.
yourself enough to do it.
That's fine. My dexterity is 70. It's very high, so let's see.
Oh, you just jinxed it.
35. No, I didn't.
All right. So as you're doing the spell, okay, we'll say that's what you're doing at this moment.
Yeah.
Dawkins, the thing now is in front of you. You tried slashing at it. It rears up and its ribs open, and it lunges at you in an attempt to sort of wrap its ribs around you like this and grab you inside of its body.
I'm dodging.
You're going to dodge, you're going to fight. Okay.
I'm going to try to dodge out of the way.
Okay.
I got a 23, yes.
It got a 62. So it snaps at you like a Venus flytrap, its body, but you managed to back out of the way. Now you have the chance to slash at it for your attack.
Okay. No, 66.
Okay, you keep swinging, but you're missing. Okay, Eldritch, you complete the spell, but nothing happens.
Oh yeah, it's a transmuting thing. Like you have to input body parts onto it. This is all Beddoes.
Right.
Okay, that doesn't work.
Dr. Keith.
Is it within range of me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna lamp it with I'm gonna caution.
Okay, go ahead and try.
My fantastic brawl skill of 38. 69. No, that's a miss.
Okay, you swing. How about you, Frank?
I will use my trusty pocket knife.
Okay.
But I'm this close to taking out my gun. Wait, hold on, is that a 4 or a 1? That's a 4. Yeah, I missed.
Okay. You miss. You swing at it. It just keeps moving like a cobra, but like a centipede spider cobra. It is once again going, since Dawkins is the person right in front of it, and it's concentrating on Dawkins, it's going to try to lunge at him again.
I'm going to try to dodge again. Oh man, that's a miss.
Okay, it got a 12.
Mm.
So it once again, this time it's more commits to it. It lunges forward with its ribs open like this, and it manages to grab you, and you can feel the ribs dig into your shoulders. So do 1d4 damage, and it's grappling him. It's got Dr. Dawkins. Eldritch, what do you do?
2 points.
Well, I guess I'm going to scramble up and without really gaining my feet, I'm going to barrel towards them and tackle both of them in an attempt to
Break it free?
Yes, but also maintain hold of the thing.
Okay.
Okay. It's a grapple. I got a 71. I barely missed. Can I do a luck point?
I'll let you do it in this case.
Okay. 29. All
Okay.
right.
I know I'm not supposed to, but I'm going to let you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, sweetie pie.
I don't want this to go on forever. All right. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Oh, I'm actually rolling for damage this time. Okay. What is my damage? It is 1d3.
Okay.
That's it. I've just tackled them. Did I release Dawkins?
Well, what did you get?
I got a 3
Okay.
damage. Yeah.
You sort of grab a hold of the thing and try to pull it off of Dawkins. And when you do, a large sheet of its skin from the shoulder down sort of rips loose. So you're doing it some serious damage. But it's still sort of grabbing a hold of him. It hasn't really even turned its attention towards you.
That's fine.
Dr. Elizabeth.
I'm going to. Will you calm down? I'm going to attempt to strike it again.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, 20-something. 23.
Okay.
Out of 38.
Go ahead and roll for damage.
Which is 1d8. 7.
Okay. You hit it with your thing right across the back. And in the process, you can actually hear the spine snap. Okay. At that point, the ribs come loose from off of Dr. Dawkins, and the thing falls back onto the ground and starts to try to scramble away. Frank, what do you do? Frank, as you're looking down at it, that poor Beto's head lolls back and it sort of stares at you.
I don't do anything.
Okay.
I'm mesmerized by looking into his eyes.
All right. Dr. Dawkins, you've been released. What do you do? And the thing is on the ground in front of you.
I'm going to try to stab it again. Are you fucking kidding me?
At least you're honest about your rolls. You're poking at it, and your pokes are going right between its ribs and not hitting anything.
Usually this type of stabbing and thrusting would kill a man, but...
Eldridge.
Who's Thomas? Only Eldridge here. What's going on? I've got this thing. I'm ripping its fucking skin off.
Okay. Go ahead and do a grapple roll.
Actually, I'd like to grab its head and kind of pull its hair back. Oh, he's bald. I'll grab the skin and just at least... I want something that I can grab a hold of and just pull. All right. Let's see. That's a 46. That's a pass.
Okay.
Not a hard, but it's a pass.
Well, let's say that what you do is, since it's sort of slumped onto the ground, you put one foot on it, and you've got that sort of hunk of skin, and you just use your leverage to just tear it off.
Oh God!
And as you do, of course, blood is squirting everywhere, but the thing is becoming less mobile. You've broken a couple of its ribs in the process. We'll just give it to Dawkins, and that Dawkins just immediately slices down with his knife and cuts the thing's head off. And then Eldridge, you dance around the room with its head because, way, okay. The thing more or less stops moving. It's twitching, but it's not able to do anything more.
Was it decaying?
No.
No? Okay. I'm just wondering. All right. When it stops moving, I'm just covered in blood, and I just go like that, and just blood all over the floor, and I go, God damn it!
All right.
Stupid fucking things.
Now, is Frank still here?
He went to go get a drink of water.
Oh, okay. I'll wait for a moment until he gets back. But you guys are standing there in all this blood and gore. There he is. You now look around the room. Your lantern is still lit, and you can see better what's in this room. And this is
what happened? Did you guys kill it?
We killed it.
Yeah. This is what the upstairs kind of looks like. And the first thing you notice when you shine the light around the room is that there is something on the floor in the center of this room. It looks like it has been burned or carved and burned into the floor.
That looks like a summoning circle.
In the middle of the room, there is a table with a red cloth draped over it. There is a table next to that that's large enough. It just dawns on you that it's large enough to lay the simulacrum on, articulated. There's a little bit of light peeping through the shutters of the window on the far end, and you can see that symbol on the floor.
I have a very, 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 very bad feeling of it. That's a summoning circle if I've ever seen one.
And on the table is a scroll and a piece of paper.
What? Can I examine the piece of paper?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Hold on. It's very obviously the scroll that's there is the scroll that you're looking for. It looks very much the same, different pictures, and the paper next to it looks like this. Dr. Elizabeth?
It reads, "O my master, your servant has done as you required. The language was very obscure, and the chant is in the Aklo. Speak it even as I have written it. It will cleanse you, your humble servant." And beneath that is written an incantation.
I don't know what it is. Can you guys kind of reassure me? I'm kind of having a panic attack here. I've got a huge pit in my stomach. This does not look good.
Well, this paper, piece of paper here purports to have the cleansing chant.
I know, but there's so many pieces here. Like there's the summoning circle, there's the table, like where we're supposed to put the pieces. I feel like by cleansing us, something's gonna happen. I just have a very bad feeling.
If we haven't brought up the simulacrum, which is downstairs, then surely we're all right, aren't we?
I'll walk around Dr. Keith, and I'm gonna look at the. You said there was a scroll, a book.
Yes.
I will grab that and open that up.
Very much the similar one to the head one.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Except that it's got pictures of left arms on it instead of heads.
Okay. So
before you continue, please do a listen roll, everybody.
Okay. I passed.
Okay.
I pass it.
I got a 94. I think I have an ear infection.
And Frank, you didn't pass.
Yeah.
Frank, you're looking over Dr. Keith's shoulder at the piece of paper. Dr. Keith, you're staring at the piece of paper. Eldridge and Dawkins, you hear a bump, and it's coming from the bathroom.
Now, I look at Dr. Dawkins and I hold my finger up like this. I say, I have a nagging suspicion that that the men who have okay, just to clarify, Tom.
How many men were there?
There were 3 people. 2 of them were murdered, and 1 of them was dismembered, correct? Or 1 of them disappeared.
What are you talking about?
The 3 men from the paper, or the schoolmaster, the murdered guy. 1 died, 1 was dismembered, and 1 disappeared, correct?
1 was missing, correct.
Okay, so I have a nagging suspicion that, much like Dawkins here, if he keeps using that knife, Makriat and his associates merged this person, and there's something behind there, and I don't want to open the door.
Well, the other 2 bodies were found.
Yes, but 1 of them was dismembered.
Yeah, torn up.
Yeah. Once again, merge. A merger. Synergetic. I don't know. I don't want to open the door. So, nope.
Now that you guys all recognize that you hear something in that room, what you hear sounds like
Oh, it sounds like a person. Okay, I'm gonna.
Let's get ready. I've got my knife at hand, so.
Okay, I'm gonna approach the door.
Okay.
What I'm gonna first say, hello? Is there a response? Does someone do?
No.
I'm going to knock on the door. Is there a response?
Yes, but the response is
Okay, as long as there is a response,
okay.
I will then push open the door. I will turn, push, and step out.
Inside the room, on the floor next to the where there's like a bathtub, but lying on the floor is a man. He's been stripped naked, and he's bound. He's tied, and he has a look on his face of absolute sheer terror, looking up into your eyes, and you can see that something has been carved into his forehead, something that looks very similar to that circle out there on the floor. But he's trying to get away from you.
I hold my hands.
He's gagged.
I hold my hands up and I'm waving my hands and I say, no. We are here to help.
Psychology roll.
Okie dokie. I'm going to guess that you're going to say he's insane. That's my assumption.
That's mine. That's what I was going to say. He's acting like he's completely insane.
Okay, so there's no. Okay, so there's no pulling him back.
Not right now.
Not right now. Okay, I'm going to pitch the idea that I have in my head. I'm going to turn to the others and I'm going to say, all right, here's my assumption here. I'm going to assume that he's a sacrifice, that there needs to be a willing thing, a willing body that can merge with this thing, this skinless one. I think the symbol has something to do with that. I say the symbol on his head. I say we damage that symbol.
On his head?
Or the one on his head. Or the one on the floor. Either one.
Can I roll a occult roll? I'm wondering, because when you start messing around with things that are set up for rituals and stuff like that, you fuck that up. Doesn't mean that the ritual won't go through. It just means that any sort of safeguards you would have had for yourself is kind of out the window.
I didn't think about that.
Like common occult knowledge. Yeah, you don't have to do a roll.
Oh, okay.
They're
That
called.
I did not think about.
Traditionally, they're called magic circles to keep the demon
Inside.
No.
Okay, well then, how about this? We can't.
And let's say, for an example, the marking on this guy's head, we might be able to do something with that. So I wouldn't mess with the one on the floor.
But we can do the one on here.
But yeah, if you cut this guy's head off, then that should be.
I didn't say that. I said damage the symbol on his head. I didn't say. I said we just damage it a little bit. We have a knife. We can just make a little. We can just do a little X.
Sure, I can fix him up with my knife.
Oh yeah, we just fix him. Just fix him.
Yeah. Can I do something with it to, I guess, make the scar go away? I mean, I know this is a magic knife, but, I could put flesh back together.
Well, he hasn't really been cut.
Is this more like a tattoo?
It almost looks like it was burned.
Oh, so it's a brand.
But possibly like burned with a knife.
Yeah.
So there's damage, but it doesn't look like it was done in like an artist would do, like a tattoo. It's fairly crude.
Okay. So yeah, I say we just cut it. We hold him still. We can control him.
He's already insane, so we pretty much do what we need to, and he's already bound. So,
well, he can sort of scoot across the floor a little bit, and he's trying his best to keep away from you.
Yeah.
You're pretty sure that he doesn't see you. He only sees whatever his insanity is telling him.
Okay.
Frank, without doing an idea roll, probably the only thing he's seen in the past few days, or in the past couple days, is that thing outside.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. All right, I say we do it.
All
I
right,
say
Frank,
that we.
hold him down.
Hold on, guys. What if we can use him?
No. Very good, very quick, very simple.
Sounds like
No.
a slightly sinister suggestion, but what did you have in mind?
Well, we've been tricked by Makriat this entire time, and we just happened to burst into his secret lair here, and everything is just perfectly set up that all we need to do is just read one little phrase.
I point to the skeleton body and I say, "Yeah, it was real nice and easy getting here."
So, are we all just going to just accept this as truth from one of his supposed servants and just recite this blindly, not knowing, are we supposed to be standing in the circle? Do we stand out of the circle?
I'm not going to stand inside the circle with that thing.
I think this is a guess. I think that that what he's intending to do, because of the symbol on his head, is he's going to put the man in the circle, recite the ritual. The corruption would then go into him, and he would become a physical embodiment of whatever is doing this to us, whether that be the skinless one or just a deformed monster thing. He's going to sacrifice him. It's the only thing that makes sense to me, and we're not sacrificing anybody. I hope not.
Oh, we're not?
Good.
Yeah, right. We're not. That's exactly what I meant. We're not going to be sacrificing anybody today.
Yeah, Doc, I'm sorry. Calm down. We're all on the same page. I say that we fuck up the mark. We don't have much time, do we?
No, we don't. So the question is,
wouldn't we be better served just trying to do the cleansing?
Yeah, well, if we did the cleansing now, I mean, it's good that Frank and Eldridge brought this up, but if we were to do the cleansing now, all of our ailments would go into that fellow over there. So he becomes a sacrifice, and we're not sacrificing anybody.
But also, we don't know if he needs to be in the circle. We don't know if he needs to be outside the circle. We don't know if we need to be in the circle. We don't know anything. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, we are. Does it have to be a human sacrifice?
Probably, since the avatar of the Sedevkar simulacrum is a human body. It's got a left arm, a torso, a head, legs. We need consensus. What are we gonna do? We don't have a lot of time.
How much time do we have? That's the question.
20 minutes.
No, you've still got a few hours. It's only like I told you, you had 20 hours. That was at 2:30, so it's only like 5 o'clock at this point.
Here's another question.
Thomas is referring to the fact that we only have 20 minutes left in this episode.
Oh.
Yes, we have 20 minutes.
But I'm okay with one more episode.
I'm okay with one more episode. I'm fine with that. Unless we just want to say whatever's on the...
I have a feeling that Nick will be happy with that, because then he's got 2 weeks before he has to start Reign of Terror.
That will be good. It's all about authenticity. Let's not hurry things.
Right.
Now, our friends in Ultha are suggesting that we proceed with the cleansing, if I understand correctly.
We're not doing just my Go ahead, Dawkins.
No, I was because you made another good point, but the question here is, the avatar has to have the same sort of shape. I'm wondering, is there like a zoology department at Oxford?
Oh, I'm sure there is.
And would we be able to get our hands on like a chimpanzee or something?
Probably not. Pardon me. I know this is a zoo, but could we have a chimpanzee?
I think that the scroll here serves some kind of significance. I think that that this scroll here was translated, and it is what the words here are. It comes from that scroll. So we get the scroll translated. We could then know how the ritual works, thus allowing us to prepare for it or figure out something instead of just reciting the words and just moving on.
There's probably no way to get that scroll translated in the next 20 hours, in the next 15 hours.
Okay.
You could get it translated, but it would take a few days.
Any other suggestions?
You guys are talking sacrifice. What makes you think sacrifice is involved?
I think that he is intended to be a sacrifice. That's the only reason why they grabbed him and pulled him. There's something about these murders that are all connected, and I think it's very deliberate. It's some kind of offering. There's got to be prerequisites for just cleansing this. It's not like it's just you recite the words, done deal, bing bang boom, you're fine. A price needs to be paid. At least that's what my superstitions have taught me. A price needs to be paid. And I think that he is intended to be the price instead of us.
Would it do any good to try and calm this guy down and see if he knows anything?
I think he's a little too far gone.
Yeah, I think that he's too out of it. But at the same time, I'm not comfortable. Even if he's all gone up here, I personally don't feel comfortable with just like putting him in the middle of the circle, reciting the words, and if something happens to him, I still, I'd feel bad about that. It goes against what I personally believe.
Understood. I don't have any other solutions. I mean, we're here to get cleansed. I don't know.
What do you think, Dr. Keith?
Well, while we are here to get cleansed, by the same token, I've still got an aversion to reading out any form of incantation ever.
Yeah, it's bad
because it's magic, and magic, as we know, is inherently bad.
Yes.
It will all end very badly for everyone concerned.
Magic always ends badly. That's been my entire thesis.
I mean, because my concern here, because originally I was thinking, well, we could do the cleansing, but now I'm thinking, actually, surely the whole point of the cleansing was that we all die. And then it does something to enable the simulacrum.
So no matter what, we're fucked.
Well, I don't know. We need to know. I mean, what does?
Because the corruption.
None of us can read. None of us can read the scroll, so none of us know what the scroll says. So,
Dr. Keith, go ahead and do an idea roll.
Okie dokie. 3.
Okay, that's really good. You've kind of already been told, and it sort of jives with what you've known so far. You know that Fenelek had the had the simulacrum and Makriot had the simulacrum, and that every 100 days, every 100 hours, you had to do something in order for you yourself not to become corrupt. So the cleansing, the Makriot had to get here as quickly as possible so that he could cleanse himself.
So the cleansing is
Not
for
die.
him.
It's for whoever's been corrupted by the simulacrum. Fenelek had to do the same thing.
But I thought Fenelek didn't do it, and that's why he never wore it. It was just like
You don't have to wear it. You have to be cleansed of the corruption. That's why Fenelek looked the way he did. He was a vampire, so he couldn't die.
But he was deteriorating because of the corruption.
Right.
So he was so the simulacrum didn't turn him into a vampire. He was already a vampire. Okay.
The only way to know for sure
is to do it.
Is to get a translation of the scroll.
But we can't get a translation of the scroll.
Within 20 hours?
It's a big, huge thing. It's an Aklo, too.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
The telegram specifically said we had to have the simulacrum with us, right? Like I'm thinking if the table is laid out here next to it, that we're probably supposed to put it on the table.
That seems likely.
And then we're supposed to put him in the summoning circle. He's a catalyst. We say the words. And who knows? And Dawkins is probably right. By putting him in the circle, we've contained the being to the circle, most likely. If we just said the words out loud, it would just go into him. He's not inside the circle. Or I have no idea. I'm very confused. I'm very scared. Someone tell me what to do.
My concern is that the way it might work is that we might be the sacrifice that empowers the simulacrum, or it might only cleanse the person who speaks the incantation at the cost of the rest of us.
Or what if we all were to chant it all at once? Then we all can get rid of this curse. The problem here is still the sacrifice.
That's all well and good, but you've been mucking around with magic already.
I don't know what you're talking about. What do you say?
So, I mean, I'm not sure I trust your judgment on this matter. I think you've already been exposed to otherworldly forces.
Exactly. I was exposed to otherworldly forces, and I can't feel cold, and my blood is water, and that already freaks me out. Magic is bad. We shouldn't say this, but we have to say it, because otherwise we die. But at the same time, like that's the catch-22. Either we are sacrifices, or we deteriorate and just become like ash, because that's what happened to Fenelek. The only thing keeping Fenelek alive was he was a vampire. Oh my god! Oh my god! What the fuck do we do?
All right.
Well, you can think about it. We could pick this up again next week.
We're just going to do the same thing.
Well,
though.
I mean, the choice is then if we're going to do the ritual and say the chant, then I suppose thinking about it logically, then if what was his name again? Bowman. Was that his name?
Yes, Bowman is the one in the bathtub.
Well, if Bowman was in the circle, then that would sort of, looking at this from a dispassionate and wholly mercenary perspective. Oh, blood, Jesus Christ!
Bagpipes.
Look, that's particularly
It's
spicy.
foul magic.
Oh,
Raw meat farts.
Oh no, the gate has been opened. There's a very strong smell of sulfur. If Bowman was in the circle, then it would sort of, on a wholly mercenary level, suggest that the chances of something bad happening to him instead of us were somewhat increased.
But at the same time, he's just an innocent guy. He doesn't deserve to just get fucked. We don't deserve to get fucked either, but still.
I don't think there's much of him left. Is there? I think he's...
Yeah, I don't think so either.
He's a bit hat stand at this point.
Okay. I'm going to make a roll. Just give me 1 sec. Nick. Okay, go ahead, Frank.
Before you roll, I'm going to volunteer to say it.
Okay.
I certainly support the idea that we should pick this up next week.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a fine idea.
I have a feeling whatever happens is going to turn out to be horrible and drawn out.
Okay.
and bloody and brutal, and
I don't even know.
I don't think there's a good way out of this, to be honest.
I
just think something. We've got to this point.
Oh my God.
We're not suddenly going to have a happy ending, are we?
We all walk away.
Oh, phew! Oh, that was close.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's going to suck if you come next week and it's a 5-minute episode.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to ask. Is it if we wait until next week and we come back and we just decide in the first 10 minutes, we're going to do the ritual. Be honest with us. Will it be a 15-minute episode? Or will it be a full 2-hour episode?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh my God.
We can make it into a 2-hour episode.
We can make it into a 2 by just like talking. Yeah. We can make it a 2-hour episode.
I didn't think you'd make this into a 2-hour episode. But
we can prevaricate our way through anything. That's what we'll do. We'll just wear Tom down.
Let's just do.
That's how we win. We just wear the
2.5 years for this.
let's do the next 20 hours in real time. We'll do 10 episodes from this point on. 20
with a countdown in the corner.
Yeah, when we hit 0, we dead. We die.
The question you haven't asked yet is there a Maestro's in the London?
Is there a Maestro's? Because that's what I want to do if I survive this.
No, that's what you do for the next 14 hours. Is you go over to Maestro's and then you come back and finish the episode.
Now that I'm filled on meatball subs, let's sacrifice this guy.
At least my tummy is happy.
Okay. I think the next week is fun. Oh. Okay.
All right. So
Can everybody make it next week?
Bad feeling about this.
Yeah, I'm fine next week.
Okay.
Nobody's going to Ireland or anything?
Oh, no.
I'm going to Scotland.
I'm going to Phoenix.
Next weekend?
Next week is my birthday. I'm seeing my grandparents. Yeah.
Because the alternative I can think of is we run long tonight. I mean, or we might not. It might be 15 minutes. But
all right. You know what? For the sake of my grandparents, I say we say the words. We do it. We do it right here. We do it right now.
So you're going to continue. We're going to continue tonight?
Okay.
That works too.
Okay.
How do we do
either,
this?
either way, if Thomas isn't playing next week, then either way, I've got 2 weeks until I have to start Reign of Terror. So,
But okay.
so I win.
Yeah, you win. You do it. You did it. You win. I completely forgot. I haven't even got
Well,
my.
in that case, I mean, if you're suggesting that we start the chanting,
I'm not saying we start now. I'm just saying.
I'd like to start backing away towards the top.
I say. Okay,
Wow.
just give me a sec.
Before we start chanting, shouldn't we bring the simulacrum up?
Let's bring the simulacrum up. Let's put him in the circle.
Okay. Who's going downstairs to bring up the simulacrum?
I will.
Okay.
I won't. I will. I don't want to put him in the circle. I'll get the simulacrum. I'll lay it out.
It takes you about 5 minutes just to bring it up. So you've brought up the box. What do you do?
I'm going to lay it all out. Anatomically, I'm going to lay it out, and I'm going to. Is it like a magnet? If I were to lay the torso down, could I attach the head and the arms and the legs, or are they all separate?
They're all separate.
Okay. Well, I'm going to lay them out anatomically on the table.
Okay. So you've laid them all out. Who's going to drag poor Arthur Bowman into the circle? I assume that's what you said you were going to do.
Frank?
Frank.
Well, see, that's what I'm not even so sure we have to do that because it doesn't make any mention of that in the note.
But it doesn't make any mention of having the simulacrum involved in the ritual, and we have to have it. We know that.
It mentioned that from a telegram from before.
I think that Makriat knew the steps. He just didn't know the words.
Do you want to see the telegram? Do you have the telegram with you?
I have it.
I can pull that up. That's what you found with the simulacrum on the train. You want to read it out loud just so that...
I have received your instructions about the scroll. There's some obscurity about the language. We'll have to translate before you arrive. Have arranged transportation. The simulacrum must be present. Your servant.
Okay. Well, then I say that we leave him out.
If we have time, do we have time to figure out who this servant guy is?
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm going to give you a second. I got to go. Rest.
Okay. We have zero clues.
Oh my
While
god.
I'm doing that, I'm going to quickly go and let Lug out because he's driving me absolutely.
We're all gonna die. we're fucked. There's no getting around this. I just don't want to be an asshole. I don't want to kill some dude.
We're going to bring the end of the world.
My grandparents won't be listening to this. They're too Christian. They don't know I do it. So fuck you, Grandma and Grandpa. Why do I have to be seeing you? Oh God. I can't wait 2 weeks to know the outcome of this.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
So it's just like, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Why not?
And I think with Frank's sanity, he's just willing to just give me
Do
the
anything.
I'm going to do it. I'll be the guinea pig.
I just feel so bad. Eldridge feels so bad. But it's like the only thing. It's the only thing. The only logical thing to do. Because we don't have time. We don't have any clues to find the servant. We don't have any time to get the translation. We're here.
Mm-hmm. I just can't figure out, are we supposed to be in the circle or out of the circle?
Excuse me.
I don't think we should be in the circle.
Yeah, but sometimes there are protections.
Ooh, okay. Dawkins, what do you think?
Can I go ahead and do Frank do a idea roll?
Idea roll? 89.
Could I do an occult roll? There is a difference between a.
Wait, hold on.
Sure.
Hold on. 69. I made it by 1.
Okay. There's a table with a red cloth there with a scroll on it.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like you would stand there in front of the circle.
Okay. With my occult knowledge, there is a difference between magic circles and summoning circles. Is it safe to say that this is a summoning circle rather than a magic circle?
It looks similar to one of those sorts of things, but you've never seen this configuration at all. You don't know what language is written all around it.
Most likely Aklo. Okay.
Nor do you recognize the symbol or thing that's in the middle of it.
Okay, so we know not to stand in the circle.
That's your guess.
We're gonna be freaking out all about this, and then we're gonna say the words, and nothing happens because he's not in the circle.
We did it wrong.
My question is, are we going to go another 2 hours? In which case,
I don't think so. I think we're
we're ready. We're ready. We're just waiting on Mick at this point. We're going without him in the.
Where did Mick go?
He went to go take lug out.
Oh, so he's still here. Okay.
He's still here. You went to the bathroom. He's taking lug outside really quick to get rid of the stinky farts. So, Tom, I want you to know that like the tension right now that I'm feeling has been 2.5 years in the making.
That sends little tingles up my spine.
Oh God, I'm freaking out. All right, calm down.
That was my point.
Let's not get too excited on your end, please. We can't see the lower half, but I don't need the.
I can't see the lower half.
Oh my God!
If I could see it, I'd be like, wow.
It's that intense, huh?
You guys, yeah. I mean, you guys have played this for almost 2.25 years.
Yeah.
This is my 3rd attempt,
and you haven't finished.
The other 2 attempts crashed. They didn't make it.
Really?
The farthest one got as far as Trieste, and they all quit.
That's halfway.
I know. So I've been incredibly frustrated by this game. I am just beyond tickled that you guys have gotten this far and finishing it.
And while we're reminiscing, I want to point out that I just moved into Silveridge Apartments in Nevada. Like I was going to school for writing and stuff like that. I had no interest in film. Like
you turned 21. I remember.
I turned 21 a year ago. Like it's been we've been playing this for 2.5 years, us 3 from the start.
86 2-hour-long episodes. So
well, you guys from the start. I came in the 2nd episode.
Yeah, you missed like 11 episodes, dude.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Life.
Kittens.
Okay. Lily the Blind Cat is real. She is over there in that apartment building. I can go to her. I'm sure. I really hope that they put up like a wall thing. It's been a year. I hope that they put some kind of block to keep her from jumping off the patio.
Wouldn't it be more cruel to keep her alive if she's a blind kitten?
She's sweet. She's fine. She does echolocation. She knows her environment that she's familiar with. But yeah,
echolocation.
She does. I'm telling you, she does echolocation.
She screeches in her little ears, figure out where things.
She does. She meows. She meowed when I had her, and she was bumping into walls and stuff, but she would avoid chairs and stuff like that. I don't understand it, but
all cleared out, Mick.
Oh yeah, he had to. Obviously, now was the time he decided he had to walk around the entire garden 15 times before he could go.
All right, folks, let's continue.
All right. We're doing it.
Freezing out.
All right. Eldridge, you have gotten the simulacrum laid out on the table.
Yes.
Who is your intention to put Arthur in the circle?
No.
Okay, so you decided not to do that.
No. we
He
decided
has decided. How about Dr. Doggins and Dr. Keith? Because I'm up for it.
Okay.
Either way, my decision is that I want to be as far away from that circle as I physically can be.
So
if something is in there, I don't want it grabbing me.
So,
We'll do it.
So Dawkins and Frank, are you going to drag the guy into the circle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He puts up resistance, obviously, when you try to move him. When you touch his skin, he reacts as if he's being, touched by lightning. He's not happy about anything. He's completely insane. He's probably been terrorized for the last day and a half. But you manage to pull him there, and he curls up into a fetal position. You dragged him through the blood, so he's splattered with blood. He curls up into a fetal position. He's a naked man in a fetal position. Hey, that's our logo. And what do you do next?
Dr. Dawkins, do you want to be on guard?
Who wants to say the words? It's not me or Elizabeth.
Oh,
I'm going to say him.
okay, Frank, we'll say him.
I'm going to be over the other side of the room.
I will be with Dr. Keith.
So, Frank, you take up your position next to the table, I assume, then?
Yep.
You're facing the naked guy in the circle.
Yep.
And you have the note.
Just give me one more second because I want to make sure. Is that an F or an S? That is an F. So, yep. All right. Here goes. I'll see you guys on the other side. Ma da ren ki ka rest mo ben tavo yul u lu lu ti bren fa no li ku kan ma kri ot so fo.
Okay.
And nothing happens.
What do you mean nothing happens? Just let me talk. It's called dramatic pause.
I'm dying over here. Just go.
Flaming writing appears in the air.
I raise my arms out.
When you do that, a chill comes over the room. You feel as if something has entered the room, something black. It's not anything you can see, but there's something definitely here. And at the same time, you look over at Arthur in the circle, and he starts shaking. And then all of a sudden, he turns quickly and he stands up straight, facing you in the circle. His eyes start rolling in his head. He opens up his mouth as if he's going to scream, but nothing comes out. And then you see a red line appear here on his body, and his skin begins to split. And in that moment, you see it fall away, and there's just sinew and muscle underneath it. And it's changing shape. The thing opens its mouth again, and it begins to laugh. And as you're looking at it, even though it doesn't have skin, you can see that the shape that it takes is Mehmet Makriat. And he's laughing. Do a sanity roll.
No.
Yeah, fail.
Oh, I got a 6. So
I passed.
Okay, if you pass, take 2 damage. If you failed, take a 1. Well, take 4. Just automatically take 4. Makriot is standing there. He's flame red, dripping with blood. He's laughing, and he looks down at you all, and he says, "Well done." He says, "You brought me back, and now your reward." And he steps forward out of the circle and puts his hands like in this position, and he says, "I call upon the power of the Skinless One to come and do my bidding. I call him forth." And as he says this, behind him in the circle, it begins to shimmer. There's sort of this light, this purplish light glowing in the center of the circle. And everyone do a dexterity roll, because the whole room rocks all of a sudden like a huge earthquake. If you fail, you stumble back against the wall. You
I passed.
I failed by 8.
Okay.
I absolutely, obviously failed because my dex is 40.
All right. You stumble back against the ground. The light behind him begins to coalesce. You begin to see blood and sinew coming out of nowhere. You see the skin beast, the thing that was on the ground, sort of gets sucked up into it. And what begins to form is a human man made of nothing but sinew and bones and guts and gore, but it's like 9 feet tall. And it's glowing with light. And you can see in the center of Makriot's head a third eye suddenly appear, and it's glowing red. And as it appears, Makriot steps to the side, and he points at the thing, and he says, "I command you by the power of the simulacrum, destroy these infidels." And he points at you. And the thing, the Skinless One, looks at you, and he looks back at Makriot, and then he says, he says, "But none wear the simulacrum."
I look over at the simulacrum.
Yep.
And I'm gonna run. I'm running to it.
Okay, you're standing almost right in front of it.
So I just grab it as...
At the same moment, Makriot realizes the same thing and lunges for the simulacrum. Anybody else?
At the same
I'm
time-
going to do the same. I'm just going to grab for one bit, like an arm or a leg or something.
Okay.
While Makriot is lunging for the simulacrum, I've got my nice little knife. So while his concentration is focused there, I'm going to try to, poke him in the back
Okay.
again.
Take the arms off.
I will say that your attempt will fail, but
Okay.
Makriot manages to grab the right arm of the simulacrum. And what you see him do is he takes the left arm. He takes the left arm and he brings it to his arm, and you see it meld itself to his flesh. At which point he turns back towards the Skinless One and he says, "Now I command you, destroy these infidels." And the thing looks at you, and it looks at Makriot, and Makriot turns back to it and he says, "Do as I say." And he points up at the Skinless One, And the skinless one reaches out with its hand and grabs a hold of Makriot's arm like this and lifts him up off the ground. And Makriot's like, "What are you doing?" And all of a sudden, you see the thing squeeze, and the arm turns bright blue for a moment and then shatters into a million pieces. And Makriot screams in agony as this happens and falls to the ground. What do you guys do?
Are they localized in the circle?
They're more or less.
Are they did Makriot exit the circle to get?
Yes.
Okay, so they're not bound.
Correct.
Here's a thought.
Run.
No. What if this is actually how you destroy the simulacrum?
What if destroying the simulacrum unleashes it?
Well, it has just destroyed the left arm.
Who was affected by the left arm?
Me.
Is there any sort of? I mean, I'm asking.
You don't have the time to think about that at the moment.
Okay.
What happened to Makriot?
Makriot his arm has been completely crushed, and he's fallen to the ground screaming in agony. "What are you doing?"
I'm going to take control. I'm going to step forward. I'm going to look at the skinless one, and I'm going to outstretch my arms. I imagine I have one of the pieces in my hand.
You've got table, and you've got Makriot on the floor in between you and him. So
I'm just looking up at him, and
okay.
I scream at it, not him. I don't know what to ask it. Is your intention to destroy these? And I hold the piece up.
As you say that, he's looking down at Makriot, and he says, "The usurper is unworthy." And he lifts his foot up and puts it right on Makriot's leg and leans forward and crushes Makriot's leg. And Makriot is now just howling in agony. And as he does that, he reaches up like this, and the left leg flies up into his hands, and he snaps it, and it shatters into a million little blue sparkles.
Was that the one that I was holding?
Could have been. Anyways, it flew to him. He then proceeds to continue stepping on Makriot, crushing him. He crushes then the right leg, and finally you see him sort of put his foot on Makriot's chest as the torso flies into his hands, and he crushes it. Does the same with the left and right arm. Makriot's dead, and the last thing that flies up into his hand is the head of the simulacrum, and with one hand he begins to squeeze it. And in that moment, in the face of the simulacrum, you can see who you assume was that first guy from the Celtic story. You suddenly see Fenelek's face. You see Salim Makriot, and you see Mehmet Makriot's face for a moment, and then it's shattered out of existence. And the skinless one takes a step back into the circle, and he says, "Withdrawn." And as he does this, Dr. Dawkins, the knife is ripped out of your hands, and it flies up into his hand, and with a very simple gesture, he snaps it.
No!
When he snaps it, there is a blast of energy. You can all do dex rolls, or you go sprawling on the ground.
Oh,
I passed 50.
bloody!
Oh, I got a 22. I passed.
All right. If you passed, you stumble backwards, but you don't fall. There's a flash of light.
I failed.
I actually fall to my knees crying, "No!"
There's a flash of light from the center of the circle, and the skinless one is gone. And for a moment there's silence, and then it's like a vacuum in the center of that circle. Everything begins to get sucked towards the circle. And it's just like a black abyss. The furniture that's there, the table, it starts to get pulled. The scrolls go flying. Unless you grab that scroll.
Which one?
The
That
cleansing
scroll?
one.
That's
Oh,
right.
that's a thought.
I'll grab it. I'm close.
Okay, you grab that scroll. And who fell?
I did.
Okay. If you fell, Dr. Keith, do another dex roll to see if you can hold on to something because you're being dragged towards the circle.
Oh no.
The building is shaking.
Oh, 20 out of 40. I actually passed the dex roll.
Okay, you grab a hold of Frank's leg.
Nice.
Goodness for that.
And a couple seconds later, the circle goes silent. The wind stops. The floor is no longer got any kind of symbols on it at all. The blood and gore in the room has been sucked into the hole. You're standing in an empty room. And the only thing you have in your hand is the scroll of cleansing. Now, all of your aches and pains are gone. With the simulacrum, it would seem that the curse of the simulacrum is gone. Now, you might still have little aches and pains, but they're going to eventually go away. So, before we do a little bit of epilogue, for defeating Makriot, 1d10 sanity you get. If the skinless one broke the simulacrum into pieces, 1d10 sanity you can add. For rescuing Arthur Bowman, well, you didn't do that. Let's see. The very fact that you have seen the defeat of your enemies, 1d4 sanity points. And for having completed the entire campaign, you should receive 4d6 sanity points.
Wow.
Now, let's talk for a moment about the aftermath. At some point in the next few days, you do manage to have the scroll translated. And what you can see is that it is, in fact, a ritual of cleansing. It's just a matter of the thing that was written on Makriot's paper was not the ritual of cleansing. I'm just gonna
Sorry, say that again.
The thing that was written on the scroll that you chanted was not the ritual of cleansing.
No.
It was a resurrect.
I'll give you all the details after.
Sure.
But at some point, Eldritch, you go ahead and try the ritual of cleansing. And when you do, your blood goes back to normal.
For real?
Mm-hmm. The cleansing cleanses curses, and your curse is lifted. The only other thing about you guys, I don't know how you'll all end it. You will be disturbed for a long time. You've seen some horrible, horrible stuff. Dr. Keith writes a journal. She's been keeping a journal all along. She keeps that safe. Probably it goes to the Arcane Society eventually. Now, any questions? Well, I can answer a few things really quick. Makriot knew that you guys were capable, and he knew there was a very good chance that you would kill him somewhere along the line. So he set this whole resurrection thing up, hoping that if he does get killed, you would come here and read the scroll. that he left behind. There was no servant. He did this all himself. He did it before he left. I have a theory about the simulacrum and the Memsahis and how they are related. I'm not sure if this is backed up by the story writers. I'm not sure there's anything actually said about it. But I think the implication is that the Memsahis was a medical instrument, and so was the simulacrum. The simulacrum was the mold that the elder things used to create us in the first place. That's why it looked like anybody. That's why it could take flesh and form it into living things.
Like,
I thought it was sinister.
Like the elder things, as in the elder things from Antarctica, or
the ones that created the human race.
The thing had been around for thousands and thousands of years in a cave somewhere.
Yeah.
And Ulweth Gawalith, or whatever his name was, is the first one to find it. And Nyarlathotep is the skinless one.
I knew that, yeah.
He took the opportunity to set up this whole elaborate thing. And
for shits and giggles, right?
For shits and giggles. And guys somehow managed to stop it all from happening. So well done.
Can I ask, unless you can't divulge it, Nyarlathotep said, "You are not worthy." What does that mean? And who can be worthy, if anyone?
Well, I'm assuming that the fact that Makriot was an arrogant asshole who put the thing on and thought that he could command an elder god is the reason why Nyarlathotep just crushed him out of existence.
Yeah.
He wasn't interested in worshiping Nyarlathotep, so he's like, Nyarlathotep was just like looking at him like, are you out of your fucking mind? You're telling me what to do?
I've still got that copy of the Rasul al Albarin. I'd like to spend a few years studying that, which would involve having to learn Arabic.
Okay, I'm sure that all happens.
Yes.
I'm still getting over my heartbreak, my breakup with the Min Sahif.
Should we?
Yeah, it was like a computerized medical instrument that was feeding into your brain and teaching you how to do all of these things. Unfortunately, the elder things weren't exactly ethical as far as we know, so you weren't ethical either.
With our reduced constitution, does that return to normal now that
Yes, your constitution eventually returns. What doesn't return is if you had a power loss.
To end, just go ahead, Dr. Keith, or Mick. We're done.
Is there any resulting Cthulhu mythos for this encounter?
Sure. Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, you can do a 1d10 plus 10.
Damn.
Holy fuck.
Damn, 16.
18. Holy fuck.
I get a 9.
9. I've just doubled my Cthulhu mythos in one roll.
My sanity is enormous now. Like, I am way saner than when I started.
Well, I did say 1d10 plus 10, so the lowest roll you could get is 11.
Yes.
Right.
But what I'm pointing out is, like, I was at... I don't know where I was at. Where was I? I already moved all my stuff.
Now we can speculate. Why don't you guys speculate? What would happen? You'd go back to the Arcane Society. I wonder if any one of you is going to be the next president of the Arcane Society.
You
certainly have a tremendous amount of knowledge.
If I could interject just a tiny bit, because in Homecoming I've written a little bit, assuming that we survive. I've speculated that the Arcane Society, after the events of the Challenger Lecture in the beginning of this episode or this series, it prompted expansion, and they expanded to Providence, New York, and London. They gained prominence, but towards the Depression, they split off. I also wrote in my notes for Homecoming that Smythe is alive and he came back to America. He's not the president, but he exists.
Well, now, Smythe didn't live in America.
Well, I'm saying, but that's what I've speculated, that he's come to America. That, that he is a wheelchair-bound, sunglass-wearing, quadriplegic lump.
Yeah.
Who is pushed around by a servant. He's the same genius that he was. I also wrote that in the New York Arcane Society that they have a wing called the Smythe Wing and a wing called the Coates Wing. But that's all I've got. What about you guys?
Well, my thing was, I was hoping to start out this episode that once we got off the train, I received a telegram, and it was actually from my wife, Elizabeth. And in it, she was pleading for me to come home, and she wanted to tell me in person, but since she didn't know when she would see me next, she tells me in the telegram that she's pregnant.
Cool.
Should we speculate about our other characters? What about Dawkins? What happens to him?
Dawkins definitely has a great deal of medical knowledge in his head that he didn't have before.
Oh, that stayed. Good.
Some of it did. Yeah, although you were never really a medical doctor.
I wasn't.
Just your knowledge of biology is such that you might still have an obsession with taking a scalpel and taking animals apart and seeing how they work inside. You're a vivisector, you dirty.
Well, I did want to focus on dreams. And I will start researching a bit more about dreams and how to get back to the dreamland.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Cool.
Because there's nothing left here for me.
Do you guys have any questions? Things that make sense to you? Things that... My guess is that over the next couple of weeks, you'll be thinking up questions and you'll email me and say, now, wait a second.
I guess my only real question is if we've done everything, if the simulacrum is destroyed, if the Mem Sahis is destroyed, why the modern day campaign?
I wonder why.
I wonder why. That's why I'm asking.
That I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
That's why I'm not telling you what the name of the last campaign is.
Oh, that's good.
This campaign was called The Fog Lifts.
Okay.
The first campaign was actually not the ship one, but the actual campaign was called Dancers in the Evening Fog. So it starts with fog and it ends with fog. I thought that was kind of cool.
The fog lifts. We've learned everything now. Well, this was fun.
Was our initial task by Smythe to destroy the simulacrum? That was all fake too? Was that from Macbeth?
That was all fake.
That was all fake.
Smythe knew nothing about the simulacrum.
Okay.
It was a very obscure sort of thing.
Smythe didn't know anything about the simulacrum, but he knew about the blood red fez.
Oh yeah. That was his experience.
Okay.
That really was his journal.
So Makriat planted that journal for us to find.
No, you just found it in the burned rubble of his house.
All right. Well, Eldridge is going to Russia. He told his wife he can't come back. Bye. Never see you guys again.
Except that now when you get up there, it's fucking cold.
Well, it's Soviet Russia, but yeah, no, that's where I'm going. Siberia, Yamchatka. Bye.
Well, Elizabeth heads back to Arkham, where, having undergone a curious change of personality, she no longer feels the urge to keep her relationship secret, and having achieved tenure, goes on to really scandalize the university for the rest of her career.
But yeah. Also, this is not the actual end of horror on the Orient Express. That there is one more scenario that's set in the modern day. So we'll be starting that in a few weeks after we do Reign of Terror. All right, well, let me go ahead and finish it.
Can I, real quick,
Yes.
I just also pause for a second to thank, I mean, you may be doing this also, but I want to thank any of the viewers who stuck with this for this long too. So kudos to you guys. And I also want to give a quick shout out to the other players that we've had along the way.
Yeah.
So, which was what? We started with Riley first, right?
It was Riley
and
Richard.
And James.
Simon. And I think that was it.
That was it. We started with there were 9 total, and we're the last 4.
That's pretty awesome.
It's sad, but at the same time,
Mhm.
I can't imagine doing this with anybody else.
Mhm.
I love you guys. This has been like every Thursday night, except for those 11 episodes I missed in consecutive order, have been some of the best Thursdays ever. Tom, I know that you're emotional, but seriously, this has been like the greatest thing. I found true friends with you guys. This is amazing.
And obviously, yes, to thank Tom too, because I mean, how you can hold all this information in your head to run a scenario this huge is astounding to me.
Yeah.
Thank you. You guys all want T-shirts or something?
That's fine. Yeah. I finished Horror in the Orient Express.
Yeah. Send me your shirt sizes and I'll make them up.
Sure. Why not?
Excellent.
All right. Our players included Thomas McKeon, Mick Swan, Jeff Wilkins, and Wayne Worthy, with myself as the keeper of the secrets. We're currently producing 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to become a patron of our show, visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month will help us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We love hearing from you. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.